All right. Good evening, everyone. Happy Monday. Doesn't that feel weird to say? Like, whose Mondays are happy? Well, mine has been. So, happy Monday to all of you. And thank you for joining us for the last workforce development session here in partnership with Community Based Connections and Broward College, the Broward College Up program. So, thank you for joining us. Thank you so much to Community Based Connections. And if you are not familiar with who they are, I want you to Google them right now. They're an amazing organization that is doing wonderful things in the community to help reunite families, to help keep families together, to help boost educational scores, and all sorts of wonderful things in the communities that deserve it most. So, if you are not familiar with who Community Based Connections is, want you to Google them, check them out, and then if you feel inclined to, donate because teamwork makes the dream work. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and start tonight's session. As I said in the beginning, this is our last session. I think we've been doing this since April, and you and I have become kind of like family. But family is going to take a break for the holidays. So, this is our last session for the year, but I hope to see you back next year, and I hope to be back next year. So for tonight's session, we're going to switch it up just a little bit. I'm going to just kind of cover all of the things that we've gone through, but I'm going to share with you 5 ways to take your job search to the next level. So, we're going to start sharing a presentation here shortly in just a second. Want you to go ahead, get comfortable, take out your notepad because this is going to be something that I want you to take notes. I'm going to be dropping a lot of gems. I'm going to be sharing a lot of resources. So, want to make sure that you have all of the stuff that you need to be successful and to kick butt and rock out in the job search and in the new year because 2022 is right around the corner. And what we don't want to do is be in the same place. Uh oh, can everyone hear me? I think we went on mute. Okay. So, in case I lost you, make sure that you got something to take notes with because I'm going to be dropping a lot of information, a lot of jewels here. So, I want to make sure that you have all of the resources that you need to be successful in this career and beyond. So, who am I? I'm your facilitator, and I've been rolling with you guys since about April. My name is Amber Vaughn, and I'm a career director. I work for an organization called 2U. And basically, what we do is we set up boot camps on college campuses, and our students graduate from data analytics, web development, all sorts of different boot camps. And it's my job as their career director to make sure that they transition into employment. But this isn't my first time in the rodeo. I have worked for the state of Florida, the Bureau of Prisons, higher education institutions, and now most recently with 2U. I say all that to say I've got 10 plus years of experience in the game, and there is no job search situation that I haven't seen and helped job seekers navigate around. So if you're feeling a little like, I don't know, I guarantee you I've got an answer for almost every question. And if I don't have it, I can find you the information. Um, so I'm going to do something different tonight. One of my students shared a quote that I absolutely love, and I believe that hustle is a 1,000,000% of the job search. He shared with me that hustle beats talent when talent doesn't hustle. So, yes, you're going to be putting in applications. Yes, you're going to be networking. Yes, you're going to be volunteering. Yes, you're going to be doing a lot of things, but all of that is your hustle. You got to hustle because hustle beats talent when talent doesn't hustle. So we're going to go to this next slide. And tonight, we're going to be covering a lot. And when I say we're going to be covering a lot, I want you to get your notepads ready because I'm going to be sharing 5 tips that if you are currently job searching, regardless of the level of your position, you absolutely must incorporate these tips into your job search. So tonight, we'll be talking about tips for resume tailoring, staying organized, networking, boosting your online presence, as well as how do you avoid the burnout. The job search is brutal, y'all. So I'm going to give you some tips to stay encouraged, to stay motivated, to keep yourself from blindfolding and walking into traffic at 5 p.m. because it's rough out there and I get it. So, with that being said, we're going to take some time and start off with tailoring your resume. So, Y'all, this is like the hill that I will die on. This is the one thing that I wish I could get a megaphone for and just scream it around on like one of those big old charter buses. You have to, have to, have to. It's not even negotiable. It's not a, sometimes I tailor, sometimes I don't. You absolutely must use a new resume every time that you apply. In fact, this is the number one mistake that most job seekers make, and it's using the same resume for different positions that they apply for. And here's why this doesn't work. Most employers are now using an applicant tracking system, and these systems scan your resume and sometimes your cover letter for keywords to determine whether you are a good fit for that position. But what are those keywords? Are you wondering, like, but where do these keywords come from? Well, great, but where do I get these keywords? I'm glad you asked. Because they come from the job description. The keywords that they're looking for are all listed in the job description. So, because they come from the job description, the applicant tracking system is scanning your resume and your cover letter for the exact verbiage, aka wording, that's listed in that job description. So, you want to make sure that no matter what position you apply for, even if they're both customer service representative positions, that you're tailoring your resume to each position using different verbiage for each position that you apply for. Because guess what? Those same two positions, I guarantee you have they have different job descriptions. So, one of the ways that I encourage students to tailor their resume is by taking a copy of the job description. Take that copy of the job description, copy and paste it into a blank Word or Microsoft document. Then I want you to highlight every noun, verb, and adjective used in that description. What does that mean? So, we're going to go elementary school with it. I'm going to break it all the way down. So, the nouns are going to be the people, places, and things listed in that job description, any of the people that you've worked with, any of the places, any of the things. So, for example, when going through your job description to look for the nouns, look for words that could include specific people, director, analyst, clients, teams, patients, or look for specific software. Look for the technologies as well as departments or agencies or maybe industry specific knowledge, because you may see a job posting that's saying, hey, we need someone with experience using Microsoft Word, working collaboratively with analysts and database managers. Or if you've had experience doing any of those things, working, you see that verb that I just pulled out, working. If you've had experience working anywhere, or you can describe your experience and start it off with working collaboratively within teams to da 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 da. You want to incorporate as much of that verbiage from the job description into your resume as humanly possible. Consider your experience if you've worked with something, used, or have knowledge of any of the nouns, the people, the places, the things listed in that job description. And if so, you want to highlight it. So we're actually taking the job description, we're copying and pasting it into a Word document, and then highlighting all of the nouns. We're going to highlight all of the nouns, all of the verbs, all of the adjectives, right? So now that we've done the nouns, we're going to go through each bullet and highlight the verbs. Think about the verbs that they're using: document, planning, um, building, built, collaborated, ran, developed, deployed. If any of those verbs that they're using in that job description can be used to describe your previous work experience or any project that you may have worked on, you definitely want to include those verbs into your resume. And I also, as much as possible, try to use the same tense. So if they're saying that they need someone who's actively worked deploying websites, I try to incorporate deploying websites into my resume. Not deploy, not deployed. I say deploying. I give them their exact verbiage. So many times I'll get um resumes back from students and they'll be like, yeah, I'm tailoring my resume. And I'm like, okay, so where's the exact verbiage from the job description in your resume? And they'll say it every single time. Well, that means the same thing, or that kind of means the same thing. These aren't people that are reading your resumes. The applicant tracking systems are the computer systems that are scanning your resume, scanning your cover letter, not for synonyms, They're scanning it for exact word matches. So you want to make sure that when it comes to your resume that you're tailoring it. You're using the same nouns, the same verbs. But I also talked about adjectives. So you're going to look for those adjectives that they're saying. Are they looking for somebody conscientious, analytical, meticulous, hardworking, passionate, driven? What are the adjectives that they're using to describe the person that they're seeking? You can use those adjectives to describe who you are in that summary section. So say for example, you're applying for a customer service role and they're looking for someone who is passionate, works well with teams, and has experience using Microsoft Word or something like that. Your summary could say passionate customer service representative experienced in working well with teams, proficient in Microsoft Word. You see how we're weaving in that stuff from the job description into our resume because you want to use their verbiage to describe your experience as much as humanly possible. Of all of the resumes that I've seen, 10 out of 10, the biggest problem, the biggest challenge that a lot of job seekers face is that they're not tailoring their resume. Spoiler alert, it's a lot. Tailoring your resume is a lot. I hate it. I hate being a job seeker. I myself have not applied for positions because I knew I was going to have to tailor my resume and tailor my cover letter. I hate it. There are a million things that I would rather do than tailor my resume. So I get it. But to whom much is given, much is required. And this is something that I tell my students all the time. If you're looking for a 60,000, 70, 80, 100K position, guess what? They're not just going to let you quick apply your way to it. They're going to make you work for it. You're trying to get six figures, right? So, to whom much is given, much is required. So, don't think so much about what you have to do. Think about the end result, the money that you're going to be bringing in, because it's going to be worth it. Alrighty. So, we've talked resume tailoring. Now, we're going to go on to our next slide, which is staying organized. Oh my goodness. Organization, just like anything in life, is going to be the secret weapon to your job search because this is just one of the many ways that you can stand out when you are in interviews and you're applying. Staying organized can help you ensure you're on time for your interview because you've already done it. You've mapped out where it is that you need to go. You know exactly what to say in the interview because you've saved that job description. So we're going to pause. I want you all to save the job description. So remember how we were just talking about tailoring your resume, right? And taking that job description, copying it into a blank document, and then highlighting it. I want you to save that highlighted version of your job description because when you start applying for positions and these employers start interviewing, what you'll notice is that those job positions will be pulled down. They're no longer listed. So you may want to bone up on the interview and be like, yeah, what do I need to make sure that I'm saying tomorrow? And then you go to that company's website and the position is no longer available because they've closed it, right? So what do? You make sure that you save a copy of the actual physical job description, not the link to it, but the actual job description. So copy and paste it into a Word document that saves you so you can highlight through and go through your resume for the nouns, the verbs, and the adjectives. But also, when you're getting ready to prep for that interview, having that saved job description is going to do wonders for you. So make sure that you save that because when they start hiring for a position, that description is going to come down. Now, um, so we've saved the job description. We're going to stay organized because we want to make sure that we're not missing any steps, right? But also, if you're staying organized, that lets me know that you're following directions and you're following instructions. And sometimes applicants don't get the job because they didn't follow certain steps. So you want to make sure that your job search is not a hot mess because you can't make sure that you're crossing all of your T's and you're dotting all of your I's when everything is everywhere. So, additionally, staying organized and creating a job search folder is going to be absolutely amazing. So this is what I do, whether you do it in your Google Drive or whether you do it on just your desktop on your computer, right? I want you to have a folder and a folder that says job search. But within that job search folder is going to be a folder for every position that you've applied for. In those folders are going to be the tailored job description, the tailored resume, and the tailored cover letter that you use to apply for those positions. So here's why. Because that sounds like a lot of work, right? But remember, we're not thinking about the work. We don't care about the work. We're thinking about the money that this work is going to get us. So we got $80,000 on the line. Heck yeah, I can organize my stuff. I can have a job search folder, a folder within that folder with all my resumes and my cover letters that I've tailored. Because when they call you for that interview, you want to make sure that you're saying the exact same thing in your resume and your cover letter because those are the things that got you the job, right? So we want to make sure that we're saying the exact same things in person that we said in that document. And it's not like a bait and switch, like, ooh, now that I got the interview, let me be a completely different person than who I portrayed on paper. So you want to make sure that you're keeping a copy of that resume, keeping a copy of that cover letter, because again, those are the things that helped you get the job. But then also in keeping that highlighted version of the job description, you can see at a glance what you have in common with the position, and you know what to speak to in the position, in your answers. You know what it is that they're looking for. But something else that I didn't mention in tailoring your resume, it's really good because if you're going through a job description and you're highlighting and you notice, ooh, I don't have a lot of stuff highlighted. Guess what? You might not be a good fit for that position because, again, the applicant tracking systems are scanning your resume, scanning your cover letter for the keywords, for the verbiage that's in the job description. If your resume and your cover letter doesn't have a lot of that content from the job description, you're going to be deemed by the applicant tracking systems as not a fit. So that's when you get that, oh, thanks for applying. We found more candidates, blah, blah, blah email, right? So you want to make sure that whatever's in that job description is in your resume and in your cover letter. But do yourself a favor and highlight it first so you don't waste your time and you get to like bullet 7 on this job description and you're like, I am not a fit for this. And we've already spent an hour trying to tailor our resume. So you want to make sure that you do that ahead of time because it helps us to see whether we're a good fit for the job, but then it also helps us prepare for the interview and just make sure we're knocking a home run when we actually do get in front of the employers. So let's talk networking. Networking is my favorite thing because I'm an introvert, but I'm an extroverted introvert. So I don't necessarily like to talk, but when I talk, you can't get me to stop. I've gotten interviews. I got an internship one time sitting first class on the way back from a Destiny's Child concert. I have gotten a job when my background and my experience were saying, heck no, we shouldn't hire her. She is not a fit. Networking is the secret sauce in job searching. And I tell this to job seekers all the time. But there's also data to support that claim. So, according to LinkedIn, 70% of professionals hired in a previous study indicated that they had a connection at their company, and 80% of professionals consider networking vital to their career success. You got to know, have you ever heard it's not what you know, it's who you know? In every position, except for like maybe when I was working at a grocery store, I was working at Kohl's. I had people on the inside vouching for me. Even with this role that I'm currently in, this came by word of mouth from a previous coworker. Network, network, network. It's all about building a relationship. So when I say networking, it's not like, hey, person I haven't talked to in about 15 years, I'm applying at your company. What's going on? That is not how networking happens. It's about building a relationship because networking is vital for those who want to move up in their career, right? According to HubSpot, 85% of jobs are filled through networking. In fact, according to CNBC, 70% of jobs are never published publicly. And that's a real thing. There was a situation where I was working a market in Minnesota and there were no jobs on the job boards. There was nothing out there. I just so happened to go come across an industry trade site. So I was working with a web development program, right? And I just Googled web development news in Minnesota. It took me to this one site that had nothing but tech news. And on this site were a whole bunch of different advertisers on this one site. I started going to the career pages of all of the advertisers that were advertising on that specific site. and I found a treasure trove of positions for my students. So when they talk about tapping into the hidden job market and a lot of positions not being posted, that's just one of the ways that employers source candidates. It's like the inside thing. So, um, you want to make sure that you're networking, because if you're not networking, you're not going to have access, or you're not going to even have knowledge about those positions that they're not posting on the job board, because one, you're not engaging with people. Nobody knows you. Not only does nobody know you, but nobody knows you're job searching. I used to be really embarrassed. Like, if ever I was looking for a job or I had to ask people, closed mouths not only don't get fed, they don't get jobs. So, if the people that you're talking to, especially those trusted people, don't know that you're job searching, they can't help you. And they don't know what to say when opportunities do arise. So, make sure that in your networking, especially if it's been a while, reach out to people. Say, hey, I'd love to connect with you. I know it's been a while. Just want to see what's going on with you and kind of update you with what I have going on right now professionally. Do you have some time to chat? It can literally be that simple, that short. Um, but remember, because networking is all about relationships, you definitely don't just want to go flat out and ask, hey, can I get the recommendation? Can you give me a referral to your job? Did you miss their birthday? Did a family member die? Did they have a big moment? If so, guess what? They're not gonna care about your referral. So take some time to just kind of do your research and see what's been going on with that person, then reach out to them so you can have a more authentic conversation that can kind of trail into, okay, this is where I'm going professionally. Now, if you don't know the person, like personally, professionally, you've never met this person. This is just someone that maybe works at Amazon and you want to connect with them. We'll talk a little bit later about how you can connect with them and how to make it seem authentic so it doesn't just feel like weird. Okay. But remember, it all starts with a conversation. According to a study done by LinkedIn in 2017, 35% of participants said a casual conversation through LinkedIn messaging led to a new opportunity. Y'all, slide into the DMs professionally. It's okay. So, of the years I've been working with job seekers and employers, very few have cited networking as something they enjoy doing. So, I'm on here, I'm doing these sessions, and I'm sure you probably think, oh, she's really outgoing. Like, no, I get anxiety in social settings. Like, I'm a complete fake. Like, no, I get really, really nervous. And I say that to say that just about everybody hates networking, meeting people that they've never met before, that they don't know anything about. It's weird for everybody. And for the longest time, especially, I used to live in Omaha, Nebraska. Omaha, Nebraska, where there were maybe about 23 black folks, and I was one of them. And so there were a lot of situations, and not only where I was walking into rooms where I didn't know anyone, but I was walking into rooms with faces that didn't look like mine. My key line would be, hi, I'm Amber from Pensacola, Florida. I just moved here. I'm kind of new to networking and it's not really my thing, but I wanted to come over and introduce myself. Tell me more about you. And they literally started talking. I acknowledge that networking isn't my jam because it's not a lot of people's jam. And oftentimes when I would tell people that, they were like, "Oh my god, I hate networking too. It's so awkward. Oh, let's get out of here," or something like that. So it kind of created like a common bond between us, but it was also an icebreaker and saying, I might be a little weird here because I don't know how to do this networking thing, but I want to meet you. And that's literally all you have to do. Introduce yourself, mention something about yourself. And if you're going to an actual in person networking event, try and research the people that are going to be presenting or that are going to be in the room. Or if you're going to an online if you're going to a virtual event, try and research who the people are that will be facilitating the session or who will be presenting, because this is what I see all the time with the sessions we do in my job. We'll have these really amazing speakers come in. Nobody will ask questions and nobody will follow up with those people that have attended those sessions. Wasted opportunities. Reason one, because if no one is talking and no one is asking questions, no one stands out. But if you're one of three people who are actually engaging with that presenter, with that facilitator who is spending their evening giving you information, resources, help, whatever it is, they remember you. They're like, wow, she really takes this seriously. Or wow, he really had some good questions. So if you're in a virtual networking setting, it's okay to ask questions. Matter of fact, there will be a lot of people that won't be asking questions. So ask one. Do your research. Ask them how they got started in the field. That type of thing. But also, maybe you're shy and you're saying, hey, Amber, I'm not ready to ask questions live. Send that person a message, send them a follow up, connect with them on LinkedIn, say thank you so much for attending that session, or it was so great meeting you the other day at during the what, where did you meet them? I would love to keep the conversation going because I loved what you shared about blockchain investing. I don't know. But think about something that you remember from them so you can reference that in that conversation. And how I get people talking is to have them talk about themselves. How'd you get started in the field? Oh my gosh. As a woman in technology, was it hard for you to break in? As a minority in this industry, what were some of your biggest challenges? People love to talk about themselves. And once you kick the ball over to them, the conversation will naturally evolve. But also, they're probably going to be like, oh my gosh, I've been talking about myself so much. Tell me more about you. Who are you? How can I help? What can I do? So be prepared to say who it is that you are, but networking is weird. So if you feel like you're going to be weird, it's okay. Shake it off. I guarantee you it is worth it. And it is the one thing that I call the secret sauce to your job searching. If you're not networking, you're doing it wrong. And if you feel like you are networking and you are doing it wrong, slide into my DM so we can talk about how to get you together. So, next, boosting your online presence. We are in the age of social media. Y'all, we are sharing everything on the TikToks, on the Facebook, on the Instagram. And guess what? Our employers are checking that out. So consider making all of your social media pages private. In the age of social media, you have to not only be careful of what you post online, but also what a potential employer can see. According to a new survey shared by Small Business Trends, 90% of employers found social media candidates found find social media important when they go to evaluate their candidates. What's more is that 79% HR professionals shared that they've denied a job to a candidate due to inappropriate content on social media. So some of us are really good pretenders, right? We have a professional and then we've got a personal. And that personal and professional are completely different. They want the professional. So even if it is your off time and things like that, consider making that stuff private because everybody, especially your employer, doesn't have to know everything. So, with that being said, consider taking the extra precautions of making your Facebook, your IG, your Twitter, and other social media pages private. Scrub your existing profiles of incriminating content, posts, cuss words, or create professional versions of your Facebook or of your Twitter or of your Instagram where you only kind of you keep it G, you keep it PG. Or you can create my favorite thing in the whole wide professional world, a LinkedIn account. A LinkedIn account allows you to connect with other professionals, follow industry and company news, job openings, and information. It is literally like Facebook for professionals. So, just like you would post and share on Facebook or IG, consider LinkedIn like Facebook for professionals and a place where you'll share, comment, and post on all things professional. Did you learn a new skill? Did you attend a networking event? Complete a new course? Graduate? Secure a certification? You got a question. You're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do this. I don't know. Something professional. You can literally post about all that stuff on LinkedIn. Because LinkedIn will be the perfect place for you to share all of that professional commentary, those posts, an article that you read on a company or whatever. But be sure in creating your profile that you add information in every section. So I talked a lot about how you can share on LinkedIn, how you can post and things like that. Let's back it up, Train. Before we start posting, I want you to make sure that you have a really strong LinkedIn profile. I am Amber Vaughn, MSM on LinkedIn. Please find me and model my profile. You're going to have a whole bunch of sections. I think there are about 7 sections that I want you to fill in. The first section is going to be your contact information. These people want to hire you. Let's not make it where's Waldo, how do I reach her or him, right? Have in that contact information section your phone number, your email. I've had a LinkedIn account for maybe about 10 years. I have yet to have someone call me and play on my phone like, "Oh, I got a job for you." No, it's not that. Add your contact information. Or if you don't feel comfortable with adding your actual phone number, add a Google phone number. Boom, problem solved. About me, please y'all write an about me section because this is your sales pitch. This is like you're talking to the employer. You're telling them who you are, what you learned. Tell them about your story, your journey, how you got here. If you're planning on relocating or doing a pivot in careers, all of that can be captured in your about me. You want to make it compelling. You want to sound like somebody they want to work with. So take some time on writing your about me. But if you're like most people, we struggle when it comes to talking about ourselves. So again, slide in my DMs for more. Also, work experience. Work experience is so important because they can search profiles according to keywords. And you want to make sure that even if your experience is what you consider irrelevant or it's out of field for where you see yourself going, that you're still fleshing out those job descriptions. They want to see your job title, your employer, maybe 3 to 4 bullets of what it is that you've done. Do me a favor and don't put things like I worked on or anything that starts off with I, me, my, or anything like that. Start off each bullet in your experience section, and I also say in your work experience section on your resume. Try to start off all of those bullets with verbs so they can see that you've built, deployed, constructed, assisted, developed. They don't even have to read your whole resume to see that these are the things and the skills that you're automatically working with. So absolutely, flesh out your work experience, but also work smarter, not harder. Go to your company's website, see if your position is still posted. If so, grab that job description. But if not, the Google's is offering. Google your position, so customer service representative job description, and it'll give you like an umbrella of a job description, and you can pick and piece and pull it together like that. But also add your education. Please don't add your high school because we're assuming that if you've got your GED or you've gone on to secure additional certifications, licenses, or any other degrees, that you've got a high school diploma. But high school diplomas also date you, whereas college and all that other kind of stuff, not necessarily, because everybody doesn't go to college right after high school, right? Also, if you've got volunteer experience, include your volunteer experience. I got everything on there. I got the clubs that I've served in, places that I volunteered, because there may be positions for you as it have been for me. I'm applied to positions where it's just been basically my volunteer experience. And just because it's volunteer experience doesn't mean you don't have those skills. It just means that you weren't in a paid capacity for it. So, with that being said, I am going to pause this session because I see that we have a question in the comments from Yandy on Facebook. Hey, Miss Yandy. While I'm getting that question pulled up, we want to make sure that we've got our volunteer experience in there, but also our skills and endorsement. Oh, wait a minute. If our social media pages are clean, can we keep it public? Can we keep it public? I would say that should be okay, but I'm also kind of a private person. Are you okay with them knowing that this is where me and my family went for the weekend? So it just depends on you. If you're a person where you're like, I don't really use my Facebook or my Twitter like that, I don't mind. Then that's totally fine. but I also am a big supporter of separating work and personal. And so sometimes I like to have that divide. So it just depends. But definitely if you're like Kodak Black on the social media and I don't know, Oprah in the interviews, you might want to make it private. Thank you, Yandy. So now on your there's going to be a section on your LinkedIn that says skills and endorsements. Oh my goodness, I absolutely want you to add your skills and endorsements. That's going to matter because you get to list all of the things that you do. You get to say, "Hey, I know Microsoft Word. I know this. I know that. I know Azure. I know C++." You get to say whatever it is that you know. And then through your connections, people will come on your profile and say, "Oh, yeah, Amber does know this. Mike does know that," or whatever. People get to endorse you. So if you look at my LinkedIn right now, it's got something like I think 98 people have endorsed me for resume writing or tech or interviewing or things like that. But it basically helps to solidify who you are as a professional. Not only can you see that all of these people have endorsed me, but you can hover over their profiles, like their profile picture, and see that this wasn't just Jack from the Kmart who is the greeter. This is, hey, the CEO of Google or whatever who's endorsing Amber for these skills. So you absolutely want to add a skills and endorsement section to your LinkedIn, but also recommendations. If ever there are situations in which I'm doing something for someone for free, if they can't offer me money, I ask them to pay me in recommendations because this is word of mouth. So your recommendations section is basically going to be what people have said about you, what they when they've worked with you, how you've helped them, and my recommendations right now include former students, they include former bosses, colleagues, people that I've worked with in the community who are all saying, "Hey, Amber's the bomb," right? She helped me out with my resume. She did this, she did that. But it helps to add validity to, again, who I am as a professional. And if I'm saying that I can do these things, it should be receipts, right? It should be people that are saying that and agreeing with me. So you can see those recommendations. Usually, when you're starting out, it's kind of weird. Recommendations, I like for them to happen organically. Like if whenever people say, "Well, if there's anything I can do for you," well, you know what, there is. You can write me a LinkedIn recommendation. That would be awesome. So you can say it like that, but the best way to get recommendations or skills or endorsements is to give them. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll get on LinkedIn like 11 at night and go through people's profiles, just endorsing, or writing recommendations. So and that makes them kind of feel like, "Oh, snap, now I got to do it too." Like little peer pressure, nothing really. So you make sure that you've got a recommendation section, a skills and endorsements, volunteer experience, education, work experience, about me, and your contact information. You want to make sure that your LinkedIn is on fire and it is an exact representation of who you are as a professional. So we're going to pause right there because, like I said in the beginning, I absolutely, y'all, I hate job searching. I hate applying for jobs. I hate tailoring my resume. I hate writing my cover letter. But I love helping other people. I love helping other people realize their goals, their career dreams. Yes, I love it because it's not me that has to go through that. The job search can be very frustrating. Last week, I had 3 calls back to back in which students just basically cried on the phone because the job search was kicking their butt. And they're like, "You know what, Amber? This isn't working. Nobody is calling me back. I've put in 40 applications and no one is calling me back." If you've put in 40 applications and you haven't received any response, I can almost guarantee you it's because you're not tailoring your resume to the job description and you're sending out like moo-moos, right? My grandmother likes to wear moo-moos. I can wear my grandmother's moo-moo because it's one size fits all. It's not tailored to her body, it's not tailored to my body. Anybody can wear it, right? Anybody from 0 to 400 pounds can wear this moo. Don't make your resume like that moo where it can be for anybody because employers can tell that. Employers can tell when you haven't taken the time to tailor your resume or your cover letter to the job description. So now you've wasted their time by giving them this general information, and they're like, but what's in this for me? What does this have to do with what I need? How are you showing me that you're the person for the job? You're not, right? Because you're giving them that general blanket moo style resume. So again, to whom much is given, much is required. We've got a lot of money on the line, a lot of money, and that's going to take some effort. So if ever possible, I'm not even going to say if ever possible, tailor your resume, y'all. Tailor your resume. Make sure that you're not applying on third party sites. So go actually to the company's website and apply there, not Indeed, not LinkedIn, because sometimes those sites may have positions that are no longer posted. And guess who found out when they submitted the application and said, oh, that position is no longer available? You did, and you wasted your time. So make sure that you're tailoring. Make sure that you're going to the company's website. Make sure that you're networking. Make sure that you have a polished online presence. Make sure that you're doing what it is that you can do, because the burnout is real. You're going to feel sometimes a little discouraged. You're going to feel sad. You're going to feel like, ugh, it's me, right? It's not. It's not you. So I want you to have things that you do to keep you sane. I am a big person on affirmations, because if we're talking love languages, right? I know my love languages, and one of my love languages is words of affirmations. And whenever I have interviews or big things coming up, there's this video on YouTube that I watch, and it's this little girl standing on her bathroom sink, and she's got these beautiful blonde curls, and she's standing in the mirror talking about all the things that she can do, how awesome she is, how much she loves her family. And I'm sure that that sounds really cheesy, right? But just like we believe the negative stuff that we hear about ourselves, why not say positive stuff? Because we're going to be hearing no's. We're going to be hearing, oh, sorry, you're not the right fit. We're going to be hearing all of that other stuff, right? So you need something to drown out that noise that you're hearing, something to counteract the negativity. So you want to make sure that you're saying your affirmations if that's what works for you. But also, oh, please don't apply for jobs every day. Oh my gosh, that is terrible. It's no bueno. And it's also, it can be like discouraging, right? You're spending 2 and 3 and 4 hours on applications. Spice it up. Apply one day, network another day. Is there a skill building thing that you can do? If you have LinkedIn Premium, they have online training courses. I even think that Harvard has free um, learning modules that you can participate in. So spice up the job search. Can you be following up one day? Can you be doing something else that's not necessarily just applying to jobs, because that's going to get very, very overwhelming very, very quickly. Also, celebrate you. If you've been applying for jobs, and oh my goodness, you've applied for 40 jobs, and this is the one job that's called you back, and they want to interview you. They've interviewed you, you're on round two, but then they sent you back something saying, sorry, you're not the right fit. Celebrate that. And I know you're probably like, why am I celebrating that I didn't get the job? Because you made it further than you ever have, right? You got to the second round. At first, you weren't even getting callbacks, but now people are paying attention to you, which means that there's something different in your resume, and you may be getting better about tailoring. But then also to make it to the second round, that's good. Now you have an idea of what to expect for these types of positions. You have an idea of what to say, what not to say, what you can get stronger in. So celebrate all of your wins, even if that's somebody following you back on LinkedIn or somebody that you connected with, passing your information off. The job search is brutal. Celebrate yourself. And it's not about how you fall, but it's how you recover. I had a student tell me today that she was referred to a position by a family friend to Amazon. And when she took the technical test with Amazon, it was nothing that she learned. And she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. I can't believe I did that. I'm so embarrassed. And I was like, girl, dust yourself off. One, the thing that they tested her on was not something that she learned in our program. So you can't be mad for what you don't know. There were just a lot of different things that weren't her fault. And she was just kind of beating herself up about that. And I said, she was like, "Oh, I'm so embarrassed for my contact because his name was on the line." I said, "It happens." I have cried in interviews, before interviews, after interviews. The last interview I had before I got this job, I cried in the middle of the interview because I had given them this amazing resume and they said, "Amber, now tell us something that's not on your resume." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, you raggedy such and such. I just gave you everything because I wanted the job, but I didn't have anything else to expound upon." And I cried right there in front of the interview. Like they were like, "Okay, sorry. Let's cut this a little short." But it's not about how you fall. It's about how you recover. After that interview, I sucked it up and I sent them a follow-up email. I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I really wanted this position." I gave them a short little spiel on, look, "I'm sorry." Me and the guy kept in touch. He was like, "Look, if other positions come available, I'll let you know. I think you're an amazing candidate, just not the right position for this one. Try these positions next time." The only reason he and I didn't get to work together was because I got my next job. So it's not about how you fall, it's about how you recover. Spend a little time, wallow in your pain, your whatever it is that you feel, but brush that stuff off. Because, as I said in the beginning, hustle beats talent when talent doesn't hustle. Dust yourself off, chin up, and try again. Every no is pushing you toward a yes. So, as much as we hate to hear the no's, we can only get a yes after we hear a no. So, keep pushing. Now, I see we have another question from Miss Yandy. I want you all, if you are watching, you got questions. This is a safe space. We are trying to be where the money resides in 2021 and beyond. So, however I can help you in answering any of your job search questions or needs, let me know. Um, oh, this is my favorite question. Some people don't have much experience to add to their resume. My gosh, that was me. So in about 2015, I moved to Broward, right? And I moved to Broward from Omaha, Nebraska, and I got this a real weird feeling that I wanted to just be involved in politics. Had no idea where to start, had no idea what to do. Guess what I did? I just started volunteering. I just started showing up to stuff. I got plugged in with my young professionals network here. I started doing a little research on the organizations that were here in South Florida that I could connect with. Again, networking, networking. So in networking, one thing that a lot of people do is they expect something from the person that they're meeting, right? So if I'm going up and I'm networking with somebody, the complete wrong thing for me to do is to be like, "Oh yeah, well I saw this position at your company," or da 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 da. Ask them about them. Well, what are you currently working on? I'm skilled in X, Y, and Z. Is there any way that I could help out with what it is that you're working on, or any organizations that you're volunteering for? Do you know anyone who's looking for free labor? Not free labor, I don't want to say that. But do you know someone who's looking for free assistance in X, Y, and Z? Y'all, I used to work for a girl prisons. One of the number one ways that we those business jobs when they serve 15, 16, 12 years away from society, we'd one include the work experience that they had while they were in prison, but then also we'd get them volunteer positions. Volunteering shows that if this is what I'll do for free, imagine how I'll blow your mind once you pay me. So it gives an employer insight into what it is that you do. If you are concerned about your experience or you feel like this is a really big stumbling block for you and you moving forward, I'm going to say this again. Slide into my DMs. Teamwork makes the dream work. You're not supposed to know how to get a job. Supposed to know how to make a network or tailor a resume or anything like that. That's what professionals are for. So teamwork makes the dream work. Take me in. I'm your professional. I'll be sharing contact information here in just a sec. In just a second. Oh my goodness. I love to hear from you. So next time, if you have questions, if you want deeper explanations on any of the things that I shared, or you just want these presentations, we've done like 6 or 7 of them, let me know and I'm gonna certainly get those to you. So now, final thoughts. I'm a Jerry Springer fan. Love him. Got a chance to watch Jerry about 2 weeks ago. Don't let the job search beat you up. It's brutal, it's rough, but to whom much is given, much is also required. And I want you to think about what you plan on getting from this job. I want you to think about that, hey, this is going to be life changing for my family. This is going to give me health coverage, and I've never had health coverage. This is going to allow me to work from home. This is going to allow me financial freedom. So whatever it is that they're requiring, I want you to make sure that you're crossing your T's and dotting your I's. I want you to make sure that you're sending a tailored resume. But I also want you to make sure that you're sending a tailored cover letter. People ask me all the time, is a cover letter required? Heck, yes, it's required. It's almost as if the employer is giving you a chance to go above and beyond. And you're like, nah, that's okay. My resume is good enough. You're not the good enough employee, and good enough doesn't get that 70, 80K. That doesn't get it done, right? So you want to get in the habit of always going above and beyond and always doing more than what's required for the job. In talking about what's required for the job, make sure that you're giving, especially when you are applying and it says upload your resume here, upload a blank, not a blank, but a resume that's devoid of text boxes, templates, tables. Try not to upload PDFs because PDFs, templates, tables, and text boxes can sometimes be harder for the applicant tracking systems to read. So just use the bland blah word document resume format. And then when I go into an interview, oh my goodness, that's when I'm hitting them with my pretty resume, my one with the bells and the whistles and makes me look all good. Because if they have to put resumes out on a table, I want Amber to pop in content and in design and to show the employer that I live in the above and beyond. So if you want somebody that's going to go the extra mile, that's me. And I'm already showing you and how I even approach this job application. So always send a cover letter, always do more than what's required, but always follow up after you've had that interview. People don't have to interview you. Some people think that they're just getting interviews just because like the employer feels sorry for them. They will never feel so sorry for you that they'll waste their time interviewing you. So my mom always says if anybody does anything nice for you, say thank you. Send those people who offered you a position or who were even talking to you about paying you for your skills and your abilities, send them an email saying thank you. I've also sent thank you emails that have said things like, I know you asked in the interview about X, Y, and Z, and my answer on that wasn't as clear as I wanted it to be. I circled back on maybe an area in which I dropped the ball or something that may have given them pause. Be real short with it, real short, sweet, but say thank you. So these and other tips are all shared in this presentation. If you request all of the decks that I've done, you're going to get a whole bunch of resources, a whole bunch of templates, a whole bunch of everything because I don't believe that information is to be hoarded. I want you to be just as great as I am with applying for jobs, tailoring your resume. Teamwork makes the dream work. And there's enough light out here for us all to shine. So, however, I can support you, I most certainly will. So, slide into my DMs. Initial consultation is free. So let's stay connected. I am on Facebook as Amber Danielle. And sometimes you might get some job search advice, sometimes you might not. So connect with me on LinkedIn. I am definitely on LinkedIn as Amber Vaughn, MSM. And again, you can see my profile, you can see how it's organized and all of the things that I've done. But also, I'm including my email. Reach out to me. My email address is amber at ambervconsulting.com. Shoot me an email, slide into my LinkedIn DMs. I can't say this enough. It's a cheesy phrase that my friend would say to get her children to clean up. And she'd be like, "What's gonna work?" And they'd be like, "Teamwork." Teamwork makes the dream work, y'all. Don't struggle in the job search alone. If you've been doing it on your own for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, and you feel like you are hitting a brick wall, then enlist a professional. Hi, I'm Amber, and I love to help you. I hope that you have found this session very informative and useful for all of your job search needs. And this is the last one. Y'all, this is our last session for the year, but hopefully we'll be back better, bigger than ever. to provide you all of the workforce insight, resources, tools you need to succeed and thrive in 2022. Thank you so much to Community Based Connections, where Mr. Michelangelo Bell is the executive director. He is amazing, and so is his organization. So thank you to them. Thank you to Broward College Up for this partnership. Thank you to the Idea Inc. and Ebony and Queenie, who are my people behind the scenes. It has been a wonderful, wonderful ride. Follow Community Based Connections on Facebook. Like them, love them, share them, donate to them. But thank you all so much for joining us on this Monday session. I look forward to seeing you in the new year. Bye, y'all.